Amazing. And of course you can, see the kind of excitement I have having a man on set on a very special day for the women. This shows a lot of honor and respect, because when it comes to matters alcoholism, I don't think it knows the gender. It affects women, it affects the men alike. But David Ogot here has an inspiring story. He is a recovering alcoholic and has come out confidently and boldly to talk about his journey. And today we're trying to answer this question, which he says never has had an answer. And I want to bring you closer home to the big conversation and invite you to be part of it, of course, live on Facebook, Look Up TV. Just let us know what your questions are. Are you an alcoholic? Are you a recovering alcoholic? Are you a recovered alcoholic? Are you affected families or persons who directly live with these people? Do you have any concerns and questions? Let's have this beautiful conversation together at the end of this hour. I hope we impact you positively. But for now, karibu sana, David.
Thank you.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes.
It's good to have you.
Finally.
And your helmet is here. I just had bikers earlier.
Yes.
Only to realize you are a biker as well.
Yeah, I'm a biker as well.
How was it riding here today?
It was fun. You beat the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there needs to be some kind of respect between all road users. I respect pedestrians. I also drive vehicles.
Yes.
I respect pedestrians. I respect cyclists. I respect motorcyclists and any other. We are on one road together. Mm-hmm. There's no separate road for different people. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you find, somebody is very close to you, and much as just talking about this incident, this video, which watched, and I watch a lot of videos, but that video was very hard to watch. But much as it was very hard to watch, somebody had probably been knocked. Let me just use my own example. Mm-hmm. In 2018, somebody knocked me in Hurlingham. I got a broken collarbone, got a broken elbow, got a fractured leg. And this was somebody who was looking for a building, saw it last minute, turned before realizing I was just a few feet away. And in fact, if it wasn't for my many years of riding and God, I would have died. And then the case dragged on. The police are writing careless on my side, and this is what they do to bikers. Okay. They just assume. But I've been riding bikes since 1978. That's not a very short period of riding bikes. So you find that it's like when you're driving in an estate, a closed up space, a shopping center. Yes. You say, yes, you have a license to be on the road, but leave it, kids can cross. Kids don't know road rules. Yes. A kid will see a ball or a friend across and run. So just assume, for example, long before when bodabodas were bicycles, when I arrive in Kisumu, for example, I would say the road now does not belong to me. It belongs to the cyclists. Yes. It belongs to the pedestrians. Because there's no point, you've knocked somebody. Now, for example, if you knock a kid, will you say, I was right, the kid just crossed? Why were you speeding? You are in an area where even if there's no sign, you should use common sense. There's kids, there's pedestrians, etc. Yes. And at the end of the day, even when the boda guy is wrong, you see, which most of the time they are. Okay. But you've killed somebody. You have maimed, so you are in the right.
Can I ask you something? And I like how you have started from a different angle. I know we'll be getting into our discussion today, but we had to make these remarks because we're just getting in from the arrival live. The incident where the lady we were talking about, let me refer to that specific incident because now it's all about her and that incident. She might have knocked someone fine, which is not very clear in the video. But people are asking, is then the reaction justified by the men who actually stripped her naked and were, violently assaulting her? I don't know what your sentiments would be on that, because as we close.
Yeah, because even as we were getting it, it's that apparently she stopped.
Yes, she pulled
But
over.
then the reaction, because I've seen guys knock borders and run.
Yes.
But probably they're running because of this incident. I mean, because of that situation, you expect, so I better run to a police station and report. And by the way, most of those people were not borders.
Okay.
To go on the side of borders. But this thing of, those were thugs at the end of the day. Those were thugs. There's no way you do that. If the issue was she was running away, you have stopped her. Why are you stripping her? Why are you violating her? Why? And it just goes back to those things of stripping women because you are dressed badly. You are dressed badly. Who made you the moral police? And then when you strip somebody. So this is just boys, because those are not men. Okay. These are just boys behaving badly. These are boys in men's bodies behaving badly. And the fact that there are men who can stand and watch this happen. I think some time ago when those were happening, I used to ask, where are the men in Kenya? Where did you cannot stand as a man and call yourself a man and watch that happen. Tomorrow when it's your sister, your mother, etc. And it doesn't matter that tomorrow it's somebody you know. Men are supposed to protect women. Okay. Period. End of story. There's actually no discussion.
There's no discussion
on that.
Okay, yeah. And I like that you have opened up that remark. I had to allow our guest today on the big conversation to, of course, because he came in and he really, showed some honor for the women on set for being bikers, and he's a biker as well. So we are still following that story closely as Look Up TV, and especially as The Morning Drift. But now, keep sending in your comments on the same. Remember, there's a peaceful, protest this morning by the women. Of course, protesting this particular incident, even as we see the authorities saying here and there, they'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. But now, David, let's talk about, your story.
Sorry, and if I could just make one last comment.
Yes.
Treat bikers and cyclists and pedestrians as babies. The same way when you're driving in an area and you're seeing a lot of kids, the way you would slow down, just put them in the same. It saves you a lot of aggravation, etc. Okay. It's just like, matatus will come out, will do, so and you plan for it. So just put them so that you're not killing people, and sometimes you're killing their passengers. The passenger is innocent. The passenger maybe doesn't even know what is good riding and bad riding on a border. So just put them, just give them space. Don't follow me so closely. This, you are enclosed. Me, my body is the body.
Is the body.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Now, of course, I'm being told we have some easy moment, but that will come in between our discussion. David, a lot of young people right now, even after COVID or through COVID, got into addiction, abusing drugs and, of course, alcohol. And it's quite a concern because anyway, majority people say are youth, but now we're seeing even the elderly getting into this. You have a very deep story that you have come out to share. And some people might not have gotten the glimpse of it. Just to bring a foundation or, an introductory, foundation to this conversation, you'd want to share with us a bit of your story in alcoholism, and then now we can celebrate with you the recovery journey. Also, as we look at what you're currently doing and projects you're doing through this recovery journey for the rest of the community. Okay. Karibu.
So basically, I used alcohol and other drugs for about 27 years. That is start to stop. And I actually started in first form because I couldn't talk to girls. Okay. So basically I was misled, as young people usually mislead each other. And what I always say, there's no such thing as a stupid choice as a young person, even as an adult. You make choices based on information you have, ranging from 0 to 100%. So the more information you have, the better informed. So I was totally uninformed. So you look at the movies, the tough guy at the end always gets the girl, and he's drinking whiskey, and he's smoking cigarettes. So I'm looking at the novels I'm reading. So then these guys are telling me, and I'm saying, no, my dad said if you smoke, you'll get cancer and die, so I don't want to die. And alcohol is for adults, so I do not want to upset my parents. So you're going out. I was in Lenana boarding school, so you go out sometimes to a girls' school. There's a dance, there's a debate. Yes. After debate, there's a dance, and you're always what is in the floating corner. You see a girl across the room. You're going to ask her And then the song finishes, you say the next one, and then this goes spreading to girls' schools, you know, people who are in the floaters corner.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're young and you're going out, you know, you even have a pimple, it's a crisis. Your shirt has to fit in a certain way, your hair, you know, everything must, you know, and there's an impression you're giving. So that led me to start actually smoking and alcohol by the time I was going to Form 2. And the first time I went out, you know, there were girls and I was talking and they were laughing and whatever. Like, as I always say, like right now I'm just handsome, but those days I was extremely, extremely, extremely handsome. So I said, Jesus, thank you, problem solved. And you see, people do things to solve their personal problems. So, you know, somebody else might look and say that was stupid, but you see, it solved my problem. The problem was mine. So you need, I now know with hindsight there are many other ways I could have solved that.
Yes.
So that's how I started, but in the beginning, I was able to use, and in a controlled manner, if I said it's one beer, it's one. And then one thing I didn't realize, okay, I was a late bloomer. So, you know, my friends are already drinking, they're already smoking. But by the time I started, I could actually finish 2 beers. Yet a lot of these guys who were encouraging me couldn't drink more than 1. So although I started late, I was on 2 beers. But at some point, the 2 beers has no effect.
Okay.
So I need 3, then 4, then 5. Now, the more you're drinking, the more you know you're being praised. Tough guy, you know, because now we are all drinkers and smokers.
Yes.
In my group, in my clique. So now it becomes who can drink more, who can smoke more. So I didn't know that this was tolerance, which is actually one of the first red flags of possible addiction. So this tolerance goes up, and by the time we're getting to Form 3, some guys are saying, now you still smoke cigarettes. Those are for babies, first formers, you know. Now there's the big cigarette, weed, bangi. Now thank God, and this might sound funny, but really I thank God that me, my body and weed were not a match made in heaven. So the first time I smoked weed, it was like I'm the captain of the plane, but I have no control. And it's like I told God, if you help me land this plane, I am never boarding it again. And I actually didn't touch weed again till Form 6, almost 3 years later. Again, bad effects, and I didn't touch it again till I was in India. Again, bad effects. So generally, God saved me from weed. But the alcohol now, I'm drinking a huge quantity. You are in a boarding school. Where will you hide it? So now we started drinking changa, which, you know, before we used to sometimes go into the neighboring informal settlement. So it was called going across, because you're going across the fence to buy food. Sometimes we felt food is not enough. But now we are buying changa. And we're drinking changa, and this tolerance is going. Then I start stealing from home during the holidays. So 3 of us, we're 4 kids, I'm the firstborn. 3 boys, my sister is the lastborn. So she was in a day school. So my parents realized that stealing only goes on during the holidays when the boys are here. So they're wondering which boy or all of them. But it was only me. So I was stealing money. Then now my dad, you know, is hiding his wallet. My mom's hiding the handbag. So I start stealing a camera, a small radio, etc. So then now everywhere is locked. So now we decided to brew. This is like in 4th form. So 4th form, we came up with some concoction, and we called first formers to test it, because when we had poured in glasses and we're saying cheers, so you drink first, because we're not sure. It looks like alcohol, it smells like alcohol. So we got some first formers to taste and etc. And then when they were okay, the next morning, in fact, they said they slept very well. Then we said, good, you know. But suppose those kids died, because we didn't know what we had. But luckily a brew is unlike a distilled alcohol. The worst you can get is a runny stomach, you see. So then I didn't do well, because by this time we're sneaking out of school, going to girls' schools, you know, all of this girls' business, and doing funny things. So anyway, I didn't do too well, and I ended up in a day school. Aga Khan High. By this time, the tolerance is very high. I'm literally needing to drink every day. When I don't drink, I go into withdrawal, I shake, etc. And then we're stealing from shops, alcohol and cigarettes, shoplifting. So at the end of the day, now my A-levels, I did very badly. And that's when I started using Mira at one point, because I was told you won't sleep, etc. Coffee also takes me badly.
Okay.
So I was told, no, if coffee is not working, use Mira, So nobody told me you'd use Mira. Yes, you won't sleep, but you won't remember what you read. So I did very badly now for my A-levels. And by this time now, the drinking, okay, to me, I'm done with school. I had written, my late mom was an author,
yes,
amongst other things. So I wanted to be like my mom. So in, I think, second form, I started writing a novel. It was rejected. I think if you had typed it, it was, I think, 32 pages in an exercise book. I think if it was typed, it would have been like a couple of pages. But it finally came out when I was in Form 5. Another one came out just before my A-levels.
Yes.
So I was featured in the newspapers, youngest author in Kenya. So I was telling people, you are reading for what? Me, I'm going to be a famous author, etc. So now I'm drinking and disappearing for days.
Okay.
And then I come back and my dad can't sleep because my mom is saying, go and look for him. And my dad is saying, you were here when he was going out. When I was asking, where are you going? He's saying, out. With who? Friends. Which friends? Why are you asking me? I'm a grown up. You talk to my siblings who are in school. So when I come back, Kiboko, Mara, we are drinking in big hotels. We try to sneak off without paying the bills. Sometimes we are caught. They call my folks. So it was just now getting chaotic. So some people misadvised my parents, send this guy to India. I'd actually gone to India first as a guest of the Indian government for a short story writer's workshop.
Yes.
Came back. So I was told, they were told, in India as a student, he won't access alcohol.
He'll be more focused.
He won't be able to get the alcohol as a student.
Okay.
So this is the best place to send him. Me, I wanted to go to the States. I still want to go to the States, bucket list. So I was sent to India, only to arrive and find some states are dry, alcohol is not sold, and whatever, some are wet. I landed in a wet one, Rajasthan. So India, I went for a 3-year course. I'll just summarize it. First year I arrived, found there was alcohol, started drinking, said I'll register next year.
Okay.
Second year, sold my passport, drank that one. Third year, tried to commit suicide. I was sitting somewhere and just looking at my life.
So you're getting even suicidal?
Yeah, because now, I'm doing things, but I'm not connecting it with the alcohol. You see, now the alcohol in my mind has become my best friend. It doesn't judge me. It deals with emotional pain, sometimes even physical pain, you see? So, but at one point I'm sitting and I'm waiting in my room to go to a party where I was buying half the booze. And then it's like a rewind button was hit in my head. So I rewound to around third form.
Yes.
When things started getting out of hand and my brothers have gone to the US, they tell my dad, don't send fees. Like one of my younger brothers went to States before me. And he said, no, don't send fees now. Here David has agreed to go to India. You see, I'll work and pay my own fees. And in fact, all my siblings, including my sister, which really used to piss off my folks. Yes. They only first year. The rest they worked. And I'm talking about architect, professor, and a doctor. My parents only paid first. Me, I'm here in third year. I've not stepped into a college. I'm wondering why I'm doing these things. So I calculated that, look, some parents lose all their kids, okay? If I remove myself from the equation, they'll remain with the 3 good ones. Okay. So 3 out of 4. Is not a bad deal. So that time I'm drinking and I'm cutting myself, you see, useless, you'll die, all over the place. And this was too painful. So I swallowed pills as I was drinking. I had a bottle of whiskey. So what saved me again was booze. Because these guys are waiting at the party, where's this guy? And you see, the alcoholism, you're going to a party where there's a lot of booze you're buying. But you're saying, since I'm buying that booze, this bottle I'm drinking by myself.
Oh, okay. Since
they're already going to drink so much of my booze, which I'm also going to drink. Okay. So they came to check. And apparently I had collapsed, I was convulsing. So they thought, thugs had broken in and, were strangling me. So they broke that door, then found me convulsing, took me to a hospital. The hospital, they were told by the doctor, this guy has swallowed something with too much booze, he'll be dead by morning. So a telegram was sent to my mom by the Kenya Students Association.
Yes.
My mom came there, found me in a coma. After I came out of the coma, I convinced her that, I'll go back to class. She left me with a ticket. She said, no, if you ever get to that space, just jump on a plane, come home, we won't ask you anything. And why I did not come back with her, which I had initially agreed, was my drinking buddies were laughing at me.
Okay.
Yeah. So, bottom line, my mom left. I started drinking again, sold the ticket. My debts again became too many. So I went to New Delhi, where I used to wait for Kenyans when they come, help them get their money. Then we take them to a drinking place. It was a Tibetan refugee camp. Put tablets in their drinks, steal their money. And that's the kind of, playing my guitar, singing funny songs, and, people laugh and say, apewe. And eventually I camped at Kenya High Commission, and I'm a Kenyan. This is Kenyan soil. I'm not living here till you put me in a plane. And that's why I came back after 4 years. No degree, no passport, no clothes, nothing, clothes on my back. So then started a series of jobs, which not because I'm qualified, but because my parents' connections. By this time, my mom's a minister and so on and so forth.
So by the time you're starting a series of jobs, had you made up your mind to start a recovery journey, or you're still in the alcoholism?
No, now is when the drinking is proper. Now is when the drinking is proper.
Okay.
And I lost, I think, 4 or 5 jobs in less than a year through my dad. Jobs I got through my dad. And so when I went for always I had an excuse. They don't like, Lewis was the last one. This was a state corporation poster. My mom then got me a job at Kenya Times because my dad told me, die your own death.
Okay.
And the Kenya Times is the longest job I've ever done to date. Employment, 2.5 years, and I was very good at it. And even that one, I lost the job, excuse me, because of drinking. And then now I am and of course by this time, I have kids.
Okay.
I have 4 kids. And by this time I'm disappearing from home, even for weeks, just drinking. So I'm drinking here, point A, somebody's going to point B, will you buy? I wish you were coming, I'm playing my guitar, doing my funny things. Some places I was DJing.
Yes.
So I wish you were coming. No, me, I would just ask, will you buy? So somebody's going to drink Busa, I end up, then they're going to drink Changa, will you buy? So that's how we're going to Mombasa. You'll buy me, I tell you. I end up in Mombasa, I'm stranded. And then finally at some point, by this time my parents are trying everything. And at one point now they tried witch doctors. My dad used to call like a clan meeting.
Okay.
That one, you're looking at somebody crazy, you're told, hey, that's your cousin, don't look at her like that.
Okay.
And so he would ask, this is money I can get. That is my firstborn, sitting in his coffin. We're just waiting for him to lie down, we bury him. Can somebody suggest? So finally, somebody suggested some uncle, I can't remember, which doctor, I don't know which relative of mine was taken. So he tried that one several times, it didn't work. And at the end of the day, he gave up. That's the time now he made that prayer again at a clan meeting. After I instructed, he made this prayer, God, you have seen, we have tried everything. We are now to help our son. We are now reminding you, he's also your son. So can you call him? He rests, so that we also rest. Then he instructed everybody, my wife, my aunties, everybody, leave this guy alone. Stop, don't go bugging him, getting distressed. David, you need to leave him alone. I have prayed. We will wait for him to be called to rest so that we also rest.
So your community, your parents, people who loved you, who stood with you, got to a point where they said, we can no longer.
Basically, this was family.
This was
family. To help.
All right.
And don't forget, at that time, my parents are public figures.
Absolutely.
And addiction is basically a shame-based disease. Alcoholism is shame-based. So there's a lot of trying to hide.
Okay.
You see? Yet you're trying to hide, but I'm in town at Kencom bus stop doing a comedy show, and my friend, guys are throwing coins, and my friend is collecting, waiting. When it gets to 100 bob, he tells me we go, and that's enough to go and buy a jig of changa. And then the next day, there's a bigger crowd, and me, I'm thinking, oh, my comedy is good. No, it's people going to say, do you know whose son we saw looking like a chokora street kid, at Kencom? And he said he'll be there tomorrow. So guys say no. So that's the bigger crowd.
Okay.
So where you think you are hiding, you can't hide that addiction. People are seeing all over the place. But so basically they now gave up.
Okay.
And that's where basically, I think a year or two later, I got to a rehab.
All right.
And in that rehab, you know, I took myself, in quotes, but I always say it was God. Because I got home, I had been away from home for some days. And I went home, and then I told my wife, I stayed in Langata, I told my wife, can we go to the neighborhood, home pub, you know, just I signed the register. I haven't been there for long. And my thinking was, if I'm with my wife, I won't sleep out. So we get there, the DJ is not there, the equipment is there. People tell me, see, DJ will buy you booze. So we ended up staying till morning.
Okay.
Now, when we're entering the house, now I have money. Now, when we're entering the house, I'm trying to go, no, in fact, when we're leaving, I'm trying to think, do I just go to town direct to continue drinking? I give my wife some money to cool her down, or I go home and shower. Bear in mind, I haven't showered for some days. So same underpants, same socks, same clothes, same sweat, you're dancing, whatever. So I'm thinking, do I go change or do I go to town direct? Those were the thoughts. Then we're entering the house. Those were still my thoughts. And I'm thinking, let me shower quickly. Then my wife is entering bed, and these words, I just told her, don't enter bed, we're going to rehab.
Amazing.
And she thought I was joking.
Okay.
And that's how I ended up in rehab. Now, the first 3-4 days, I'm completely finished, you know. I can't eat properly. You know, the top of my mouth is lacerated because of spirits. You're not eating. So then I go for my first meeting. So guys are like in a semicircle. So the facilitator says, you know, we have a new person. So first let's introduce ourselves, who we are and why we are here, before he does the same. So I'm hearing, I'm Peter, I'm alcoholic, I'm Jane, I'm an. So I'm wondering, where have I brought myself?
Yes.
So when it was my turn, I said, I'm David from Nairobi. I'm here for 1 week to be taught how to drink properly, so that I drink, but I don't spend my kids' fees. I drink, I don't spend the house rent, etc. But I'm not like you. But when I get back to Nairobi, I'll pray for you guys. And they said, sawa, karibu. So after a week, I see some guys coming, they take my suitcase, a guy is removing my clothes. Oh, what are you guys doing? He said, you are going after a week. A week is over.
Yes.
I said, no, don't be silly. I'm staying 1 more week. So at the end of that week, a young guy comes in and says, almost word for word, what I said 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yes. Oh,
and I laughed the loudest. Then I went and realized, how have I just, because even now later on in sessions, I would still say, I'm David from Nairobi. Others are saying, I'm John, I'm an addict, I'm what. So I realized I'd introduced myself as David, alcoholic. And then I remember I'd been sitting with director in week 1, asking, I'm hearing it's a disease. A disease has medicine. Why can't I be given the medicines and instructions how to take it? I go and take it in Nairobi. Why do I have to be in this backward village?
And David, I know we want to take a short break. I like that you have given us a story of how you began, got into it, the changes that came into play after an addiction, of course, the battle with alcoholism, and hearing that some people have called it a disease, and now to the point where you ask yourself, I have had it is a disease, why can't I be given the medication to take? So we're going to take a short breather. We're coming back right here on the big conversation. Remember, the question that he says he's never gotten an answer to is, what is alcoholism? Let us know your sentiments if you're following this story live on Facebook, Look Up TV, and also on Twitter at Look Up TV at Doris Anki, hashtag The Morning Drift. We'll be right back to now look at what is now David Ogot doing with his life, how is his recovery, and what can you pick from that shortly after this break.
Get a chance to wake up as a tourist as you view Mount Kenya every day by buying a plot of land at Wema Gardens, Naru Moru. At only 400 meters off tarmac, this is the right place to build your dream home, cottages or holiday homes. You can also buy this property to give to your children as a special inheritance. Water and electricity are in the vicinity, while neighbors are already building their homes. These plots are specially ready for you with title deeds scheduled to be out in 6 months. Buy a 50 by 100 plot of land at Wema Gardens for only 399,000 Kenya shillings. You can also pay for your plot through our friendly one-year installments plan.
The future of money is simple, like unlocking possibilities with a smile and having the world in the palm of your hand. It's the ability to touch many lives at the same time and turn your dreams into reality. It's forgetting and still remembering. Simple is having everything that you love in one place. From the ticket to your next meal, to your ticket to the next holiday. It's an easy way to ask for a boost when you're low. And keeping track of everything on the go. The future of money is simple, and it's here. Download the new M-Pesa app today.
Yeah.
Are you looking to turn your passion to purpose? Vera Beauty and Fashion College now brings you online classes at the comfort of your home. We are a TVET-approved institution with over 20 years experience in training competency-based courses in fashion design and creative arts, cosmetology, hairdressing, beauty therapy, interior design in soft furnishings, event decoration and flower arrangement, hospitality and catering, and training of trainers. To enroll, call us today on 0704 577 577 or visit our website at www.verabeautycollege.com. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a center of excellence.
Help me identify a beautiful woman. I never came across one till I got to Vera.
The city of Nairobi is currently defined by sad tales of broken down systems, filth, and despair. But with the right set of leaders, Nairobi's story will become that of opportunities and jubilation, a city in which everyone will be proud to live and work in. Come out on August 9, 2022 and elect me, Agnes Kagure, as your governor, so that together we transform the fortunes of our county and make Nairobi the envy of other cities in Africa. We have done it before, we can do it again.
Worldwide, worldwide.
Ministry in diaspora can be quite different. The dynamics change because you are in a new environment, you're in a new country, you are in a new culture, and also with different expectations.
How is your comparison? When you are within your people, they sometimes look for one when another one comes, and that is a big challenge. So you find your people who are there with you, but they still feel like there's another one coming.
When you're in the US, one of the things I've found out is that the reception of the gospel is not heavily embraced like you find here.
No. People come to church for different reasons. And when you see a massive, see masses come to church, don't just think they are coming because they love the gospel.
They're not coming to worship.
Welcome back. We are glad you are watching Look Up TV, and this is your favorite breakfast show in the 254. This is the Morning Drift. Today we are celebrating women, but of course remember these women are the mothers, that keep us and nurture us, and hope that at some point in our lives we do not have to be in situations like alcoholism, right? But of course, David Ogo's parents stood with him, and that's also something I'm celebrating today. We've seen a family that has not given up on you even through your recovery journey. So welcome back on set.
Thanks.
I like that you really gave us, a summary. I know it was quite a mountain to give that quick summary of your story, and I know we also have a few minutes, 10 or so also, to just, talk about now, the David today. Because you look presentable, you're not the one who was saying you didn't shower for some time. It's like there's a lot of progress. But David, what are you doing with yourself today? You ventured into a lot of things that we are now even seeing on social media. Yes.
Yeah, so when I'm saying when I understood my problem, when this guy said almost the same thing, and what the director had been telling me, so that's when I realized that when he said the solution, if you don't pick the first drink, there'll be no problem. And I actually called him a stupid old man. By the way, he passed last year, Caleb Angira, and a good friend of mine also who we were working with, Anthony Kimeria. So last year was not a very good year for me. In fact, in Caleb's case, I almost relapsed, I almost drank. That was like after 22 years from my last drink. But that's when I realized if you don't take the first drink, because when I called him stupid, I told him, do you know how much I drink? In fact, I can't even, it's too hard for me to count how much I drink in a day. So now I count how many days I've been drinking. It's easier. But that's when I realized if you don't pick drink number 1, there'll be no drink number 2, crate 2, day 3, day 10. Because that lack of control is not what we were thinking, that if you see alcohol, you just start shaking and feel I must drink. No, it means once you drink or take any other drug, that drug is in charge. That drug is the one which will dictate whether if you say it's one, or that one is 1 day in that bar, or 1 week, or 1 crate, or whatever. And you have no control until you expel that stuff from your body, and then you go into withdrawals. Withdrawals is giving you craving, and if you take a drink, all this shaking, all these other things will go away. So that's when I got so pissed off, and I said, no, when I come out, my background is media.
Yes.
So when I come out, I will use media to tell people you are being cheated. The problem is this, not what you're being told, and the solution is this. So I actually say I came out of rehab like Jesus. I was thinking I was going to save the world, going straight to the dens where I used to drink, forgetting I was warned. It is easy for those guys to pull you back, because there are more, than for you to pull them out. So if you want to get those guys, proceed with your life. They will see the change, and then hopefully want what you have, and then you will attract them to you, to us. I said, nah, I've got this.
Okay.
So I went, and that's where my first relapse came from. And then I sleep, then a relapse, then a full-blown relapse, which took me 4 months to come out of. And by that time, I was convinced now I'm alcoholic. My resource center, I set up an NGO, actually 2. Okay. The GoingHome.com Trust, one, and which is a media-based NGO, and then Kichwazi, Kikundi cha Waandishi wa Sinema, which is a script writers, whatever, which is connected with this one. And by that time, I was convinced that now I'm alcoholic. But as I was saying, the resource center started because I started reading books, and I was sure if I read long and hard enough, I would find a way to drink safely. And this is how the disease cheats you.
All right. That you can do it safely.
Yes, it cheats you, So I remember I started going back to DJing. Now it's showing me, the issue was sleeping out. So this time now I've mortgaged my phone somewhere. I'm supposed to pay for it by 2 o'clock. I'm reaching home, the sun is up. And that's the time I convinced myself that it is a disease. I cannot drink safely. And that was late 2001. And to date, 1 day at a time, so far so good. Apart from last year when Caleb died, I almost went, and luckily, like I was told he's died, Caleb had COVID, and then I was posting on social, I feel like, drink, but I know I can't drink, so my phone was ringing off the hook, and then I locked myself for 2 days. But again, as you're saying, you see, my wife was once asked by my mom that, you are married to my son, my firstborn, but he's terrorizing you guys. And this is why I say addicts are terrorists. First we terrorize ourselves, then our families, then the community around us, then society at large. He's my son, but he's terrorizing you guys. Can I get your house somewhere else? And she said, no, he's my husband. And me, I said, for better or for worse, this is the worst, so sooner or later, let's just try and help him. And my mom really helped me, Stark and my daughter, so International Women's Day. And I always say, and even this program, I'll say it, if you go to a rehab, if you see the people trying to get help for their people, whether it's a spouse, a child, an employee, whatever, it's usually women. When you see the rehabs visiting days, it's usually females who go, from grandmothers to granddaughters are the ones who go. So trying to help an addict, an alcoholic, is a very frustrating thing. Because again, my daughter, coming back to my daughter at one point in primary school asked me, Daddy, why can't you just stop drinking? And she's now a grown woman. But here is a child.
And she could see that there was need to stop it.
Yes. Saying the problem, drinking, and the solution, stopping. This is a child seeing, who probably could not even pronounce that word, alcoholism. But it took many years later before I stopped, you see.
And David, I know our time is running out, but we are literally seeing you recover. And you said you never really got for a long time, the answer to what is alcoholism. There's so much definition and information, even as you're speaking online. And I'd like to hear from you today. You said, well, Anki, I did get the answer. So what is it?
Yeah, I remember the first, I did a lot of work with Nakada in the early days with the first CEO, Bwana Kagudi. In fact, we set up a lot of structures. And I remember one of the first functions we went with Bwana Kagudi, was the CEO, and being an administrator, he used to set up baraza-like things. So he set up one at KCC. If you have an alcoholic, an addict, you want to learn, just come. So I remember I'm trying to set up my camera. At that time, my organization, I'm also the only employee or volunteer. We are now 22 to film. And I'm hearing there was a panel of psychiatrists, psychologists, clergy, Muslims, Christian, etc., youth, all representatives. So I'm hearing these people asking Bwana Kagudi, why is this guy giving the keynote address? And this guy just came out of rehab. We are the experts. And Kagudi said, no, you're all the experts. Me, I was just given this job, I'm also learning. So when I had that, I started my presentation. And at the end of it all, I remember I was pointing like this. Behind me is seated every kind of person my parents tried to get to help me. Yeah. The only person missing to complete that panel behind me is a witch doctor. So I can only talk about what worked for me. And that is the people who came from a disease point of view. Okay. Then I did a survey, to do an article for Nation on what is alcoholism. Okay. Now, at that time, there were very few resources. This is 2001. Now, today, with all the resources, which is there, I find there's more confusion over that question I asked in 2001 than there was at that time. Yes. And that's why I said, if you ask that question, what is alcoholism, you will get as many answers as there's types of alcohol. Yes. Oh, okay. So how do you then help? For example, if on this program you had put 10 of us experts, and a viewer tunes in, because a viewer doesn't want statistics of a drug problem in Kenya. They are living with, we are not statistics. They are living, they want to, I have this person, I have tried this, what can I try? What can I do? How can I help my person? This person is dying. Addicts are like dead men and dead women walking. You see?
So David, I know we need a longer conversation on this, but there's an alcoholic watching, and and they're asking, so then what can I do? Where do I start from? They've heard your story, that worked for you, but how would they find what works for them?
So if you are an alcoholic who is watching, essentially just know that drugs, once you start them, and alcohol is selectively addictive. This is why I always say alcohol does not cause alcoholism.
Okay.
Because if it did, then everybody who drank would naturally end up. So it's approximately 10 to 15% of a given population will have that gene, which when they start drinking will trigger the disease they'll be born with. Okay. Now there's a lot of arguments. People say some trauma, etc. Then you're probably medicating yourself with alcohol. Somebody has died. You're not an alcoholic. You could be a heavier drinker. Some people look at the quantity somebody's drinking and say this is an alcoholic. He's drinking a bottle of whiskey. It's probably a heavy drinker. He's not an alcoholic. So you will once you cross, you will never be able to drink safely again. This is what you have to understand, because we keep trying to go back to how I used to drink when I was in control. So either you'll end up having to stop. This is for the alcoholics watching, and I'm using alcohol to represent the other drugs. Either you'll have to stop, or it will kill you in the process, and maybe in the process it will maim you before it actually kills you. But for family of the alcoholic, and this is what is crucial, it is you. You see, my daughter saw when she's a child how many children are seeing their parents, how many employers are seeing their employees, and so on. It is for the family and the society to get the correct definition of what is alcoholism, and from my point of view it's a disease, first, because the family stroke employer, etc., whoever is trying to help, is the best support for this person to get sober. But how do you help when you don't know what you're helping? People are always telling me, no, just reason with him. Some are telling me the other day, he's a doctor. What are your qualifications? He's a doctor. Okay? So I'm saying, he's a doctor. This guy has almost killed 3 people doing surgeries and has been saved. So let the family know what you are dealing with, then how to go about it. How do you approach the addict? Because the biggest thing in helping an alcoholic, how do you help somebody who says, I don't have that problem? And that's why we had started, amongst several initiatives, the Awareness Month in 2004.
As we close,
Yeah, in 2004. And the first theme was alcohol and HIV/AIDS. And now in this 18th edition, we have gone back to ask where we started in the beginning. What is alcoholism? Because rehabs are springing up all over the place, like mushrooms.
And they're very expensive?
Well, expensive is relative, because how much are you spending on the addiction? So expensive is relative. And at the end of the day, this person dies. What is the investment from the time you are courting the mother to the time she got pregnant, you are paying, to the birth, to school, to fees, and then you get to some point many years later where some little powder or some liquid or what is putting all this in jeopardy, and you're still spending, bailing them out from co-ops, getting different schools, getting jobs.
That's even way more expensive.
So expensive is relative, but I do get what you're saying. For many families who even putting food on the table is an issue, where do you even get now money for rehab? But bottom line, you need to get to know what you are dealing with, because a lot of these places are commercial. And when people are saying, oh, rehab, very low success rate, no. If you follow the correct program correctly, it's like a doctor giving you medicine. You swallow for 2 days, you feel better, you throw the rest, the problem comes back. Was the problem the doctor or yourself? So the program, if you follow it correctly, is 100%. It works 100% if you follow it.
And what we are seeing today is a real success of 100% if you follow it correctly. I know we'll have you again on set for a longer conversation, and now for a more solution-driven. Now they already know your story. But when we're working with these people, first you've mentioned that people need to know what they're dealing with. And then now it's easier then to know how the family, you know, comes in and how they have personal, you know, initiatives to actually walk this recovery journey. Thank you, David, for your time.
Thank you.
I was curious about your T-shirt. It's written David Ogot on drugs.
Yes.
Why didn't you change it to David Ogot something anti-drugs, or why is it David Ogot on drugs?
By the way, this is just one of the initiatives.
Okay.
And then it starts a conversation.
Okay.
Actually, this one, the message is on the back, and I think it says alcoholism is the only disease that says you don't have it. I use them with messages, you know, funny messages, which make people think.
All right.
But this one gets people talking because I'm actually talking on drugs, and they're wondering how you have wondered.
And I'm glad that you shared that.
So it starts a conversation even before I talk. Even I leave people arguing in my way.
Okay, and that's what we want. And of course, following through to October and November, that's a conversation we'll be having because of our children, our parents, our siblings, and our community, our employers as well. So what are you doing even as we're celebrating women? Because when a woman gets into alcoholism, you know what that does to the entire family. So in all the respect of, you know, for a man who has stood firm to celebrate his daughter, his wife, and his mother, even through this journey, we appreciate you, and we're looking forward to more from you.
Thank you.
And that's it for the big conversation. I want to take another short breather. We're coming in with the extraordinary, which I know you love and are looking forward to, on visual arts, and later on with the Aspirant Forum, where you get to know your aspirant and make the right informed choices at the ballot. Don't go too far away.
Hii ndio kama mvindio. I wish ningelikuwa na ile simu nyingine. Ina zoom na ipige.
Mazoezi vipi? Agapi? Tuwaje hapo? Sija yana. Dawan. Basi. Nenda vipi? Agapi? Nasemaje? Uru Jibril. Namba ni ndio kidogo. Ndio
Daddy.
Oh!